Alright, we're back. This time we've got a new series. New series because we have a new expansion coming to Hearthstone. In December 7th is when it will release, and it's called Fractured in Alterac Valley. I say we because I've got Taco with me. Say hi.
All right, hello.
And Taco and I are going to do the usual thing. We're going to review cards that have come out already. We've already recorded an episode before. We've already recorded this episode before, but I found that editing was very difficult, so I changed up some things, and so I'm making Taco re-record it with me. I hope he doesn't hate me too much.
Mhm.
Other than that, we've got 36 cards. We're going to only review 16 this time. We're going to try and get the other 20 in episode 2. There's going to be a lot of housekeeping stuff here. We've got to talk about the new mechanics. You can see them on screen here. Hero cards, honorable kill, and objectives. But first of all, Taka, how do you feel about the cards you've seen so far? You've seen like 35, so you can kind of comment more broadly on the cards we've seen more so than just the
Yeah,
16 today.
this is a powerful expansion. End of the year expansions tend to be hit or miss. We've had Rossicon's Rumble, which really sucked. Madness at the Document Fair was a little bit, I mean, it's all right. Wasn't the greatest thing. And then we had Descent of Dragons, which was incredible. This is more towards a very powerful finale, and that's what it is, right? This is the final battle between the Alliance and the Horde. There's going to be a lot of exciting things. Yeah, from what I've seen, this is a big expansion.
Yeah, when you say Alliance and the Horde, that's a reference to the 10 mercenaries that we've gotten so far and followed the stories of. Um, they get split into the two groups, Alliance or Horde. 5 of them in Alliance, 5 of them in Horde. Um, I don't want to really go through exactly where each class falls into, but there is a big Alliance versus Horde theme in this set so far. Especially seeing as they've given us there's a whole event based on it actually, and you get a free legendary depending on if you pick to join the Alliance or the Horde. And what I mean by that is whether you support the Alliance or the Horde. Um,
Mhm.
and whether you support the Alliance or the Horde will give you one of these golden legendaries that you see on the screen right here, Drakthar or Vandar. Um, Let me just say, this choice is not going to matter, really. Eventually, you will get the other legendary. These are coming. These already came. These came like 2 days ago. Um, you could have chosen them, and it's kind of like your Vargoth of the set. It's the pre-expansion legendary that comes, and you get it for free. And yeah, it's generally pretty good. They're generally pretty good. Vargoth has seen play. Sathervar has seen play. Um, and yeah, when the expansion actually comes out, they will give you a legendary quest line that you can complete, and if you complete it, you get like the other golden legendary. So let's say you pick Drakthar, which is the Horde, and when the expansion comes out, they'll give you the quest. You do the quest, you finish all the quests, you get Vandar as the ultimate reward. So really, it doesn't really matter who you pick here, but I do believe there is a correct choice. I don't know how you really feel about that, Taco. I believe it is
Yeah,
Drakthar.
there's a correct choice. There's one that's significantly better than the other, at least because these cards you can play right now, and one of them is seen playing. The other one, I don't think the other one does anything. Spoiler, do you want to spoil this right now?
Oh, I did. I actually just straight up said it is
Okay,
Drakthar.
yeah,
I
it's
think
it's
Drakthar is
Drakthar.
better.
Yeah,
You should pick
pick
Horde.
Drakthar. That one. Yeah,
Did
you
you
should
pick
pick the
Horde?
Horde. Neither of us really care about World of Warcraft lore. At least I don't. There, you don't care about
No,
World
I
of
don't really care
Warcraft,
about it
right?
much. I'm here for
Yeah, yeah.
Hearthstone.
We're not Horde people. We don't. It's just that card is just better. It's just
Yeah.
strictly better than the other one.
Also, I
Um,
believe people who do care about lore do like Drakthar more. I think there was like a stat somewhere that said there was significantly more Horde players than Alliance players.
yeah,
It's like
that
it had
that's
something to
true.
do with the abilities being better or something like that for the Horde, which is pretty consistent here because the Horde legendary is significantly better. Um, we'll get more into the how
Mhm.
these two, how we think these two will fare later on in the review. But um, going back to the expansion, yeah, we've got hero cards, a returning mechanic, um, honorable kill. This is a new keyword of the expansion, and objectives, which is a basically like a field spell if you've come from Yu-Gi-Oh. This is it's not a new type of card. It's just they're just all spells that have like aura effects that last for 3 turns. So, and like Taco
Yep.
said, it is a very large. It looks to be a very large impact to the meta. It does look like it will be more like
Yep.
Descent of Dragons.
Should we go over each of these?
Oh yeah, we could. Yeah, we should do that actually.
Okay.
Good reminder. Yeah, hero cards. This is a type of card. So it's like a weapon or like a spell or like a minion, and it's a type of card that is returning. And what it does is it replaces your hero when you play it, and you get a new hero power. It does a powerful effect. Generally, these have been really dominant in the meta. Any classes that have hero cards tend to be very meta-defining. Taco, do you want to comment on the hero cards you've seen so far and how strong they are, rather than what they are exactly?
Yeah, so the first time we saw hero cards was Frozen Throne, and a lot of those hero cards, when you play them, they don't really do anything. So the strategy against them generally was that you wanted to play very aggressively so that your opponent couldn't comfortably play these cards. We see this with Questlands as well. One of the ways that you beat Quest decks is that they can't just play their 5 mana 7/7 without dying. The one thing that I'm looking forward to in this expansion is to see both sides of the equation of how the meta dynamic works, where how powerful are these hero cards, like what they do to the game, what finishers they are in the late game, and also to look at the neutral cards, the smaller cards, things that are more boring, and if they are able to contest the player so that they can't just drop the hero card and really just make the game not matter at all what they did in the early turns. So this is an interesting thing that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, hero cards have generally also just been really cool for the player base to play. They're really interesting, and just being someone different than your base hero is very, very awesome. So I think the design team does have a slight incentive to make them really good and impactful, because they are a really cool thing to play.
Yeah, definitely. You'll also see with the evolution of these hero cards that Blizzard kind of learned from their initial designs that when hero cards don't do anything, they tend to not see play. Do anything as in like when you play them, they don't do anything when you play them. They tend to not see as much play as the ones that when you do play them, they do see play. You'll notice in Descent of Dragons, a lot of those hero cards, when you play them, like Galakron Rogue, it drew like 4 cards.
Turn them all
What
to
did Warlock do
zeros,
again?
then they just
Yeah,
threw them out on the field.
yeah, and then you just spam the board. Or and also like they equipped a big weapon so that you could hit your opponent and like not lose the board. You'll see that as that's a pretty common theme with the hero cards
Yeah,
that
they
they're
do a
releasing right now.
lot. They do a lot.
Yeah.
From the ones we've seen
They
so
do a
far,
lot.
they do so much.
They do a lot, and they make it so you don't fall ridiculously behind when you play them, which is one of the biggest weaknesses in the past of the ones that didn't see play.
All right, new keyword, honorable kill. This is a keyword that rewards you for dealing exact lethal damage to an enemy. So think overkill from Rastakhan's Rumble, but instead of having the restriction to overkill the opponent, you just have to deliver an exact kill. How do you feel about this keyword?
Yeah, yeah. This is a horrible keyword. I think it's exactly the same as overkill, and it might even be worse. I can argue this is worse than overkill because overkill, what it really meant was that baited arrow. Nobody knew that baited arrow actually did 3 damage. Everyone played it like it did 2 damage. It summoned a 5 mana 5/5. The reason honorable kill is worse is that exact damage means that it's exact damage. So you don't even have the flexibility of like if you had a 2 mana 2/2 overkill and there was a 1 mana 1/1, you traded into it, you wouldn't get the honorable kill benefit. You have to put that 2/2 into exactly something that has 2 health. This is a horrible mechanic. I don't know why they brought this back. This is also in the past, if I remember, that was one of the worst mechanics, at least received by the community.
Yeah.
Making it exact damage just makes it less flexible, in my opinion.
It's definitely less flexible, but I think it's a better keyword. I also think it's a bad keyword. It's not easy to interact with this keyword because you do have to deal exact damage, which means that everything has to line up. Like your opponent has to play a minion, it has to have, or you have to be able to reduce it to the health where you can honorable kill it, and you also have to have the honorable kill card either on the field or in your hand that deals that exact damage. So it's pretty hard to line up all of these stars, but it's actually something you want to do. As in, you might want to trade into something where you use every point of damage in order to kill it, or you might want to use your spell to efficiently clear a minion. Whereas overkill was something that rewarded you or tried to convince you to play suboptimally. You maybe for lack of a better term, overkill the card. So you were wasting damage, or maybe you were directing damage, like, into a minion from your minion, and just overdoing it. And that is just not like a very optimal thing for a player to do. So I think honorable kill is a better keyword in that it's more like the devs can convince me to interact with it more, but it's a worse keyword than overkill in that it's going to be harder to actually proc, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, and objectives, yeah, like I mentioned before, they're kind of like field spells. You just kind of spend the mana, and then for the next 3 turns, something happens, and then after the 3 turns, that effect just disappears. How are you feeling about these?
Yeah, these are. This is so new and so weird. We've never had lingering effects, and 3 turns is a lot of time. It's really hard to grasp without playing these some of these objectives, how powerful they really are. And I'm very confused on how to rate some of these. The mana costs, if they're even appropriate. Some of these, like, how do you determine how much something should cost when you're not even sure what it does? Like, you can't tangibly know, like, in the next 3 turns, for example, that what this will actually do. It'll make more sense when you see these cards and where some of this confusion comes from. But this is it's an interesting mechanic. I think it's flavorful to a battlefield. I guess there's objectives. I didn't play WoW, but I'm sure this makes sense somehow.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
It's cool. It's interesting. I don't know how strong it is without playing it.
Yeah, same. I have no clue. 3 turns is a lot. We can quantify it kind of as weapon swings. If you ever try to swing a 3 durability weapon, it takes a long time for you to actually get through that. And the amount of mana you spend across those 3 turns, maybe to abuse this objective, is a large amount. So far,
Okay.
the most expensive one we've seen is 4 mana, and so from 4 to 7 mana, or from 4 to 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana. Like, if you play it on 4, you get 2 turns afterwards to abuse whatever it does. And so,
Yeah. So
what it does is
when we're
really
judging these, do you think we should divide it by 3, and
divide by
then judge the power level that way? Or I'm still not sure how to judge the mana cost of, like, is this appropriately costed?
Yeah, we can, I mean, we'll get into it as we see cards,
Okay.
but
Right.
yeah, we'll get into
Something to
it.
think
We should review how we are doing the rating. We kind of have this 5 category tier list from Tier List Maker. This saves me a lot of editing time, so I did. This is the new thing that I learned to do, and yeah. So we've got good, okay bad, and meme/pack filler. Those are the 5, I guess, tiers. And as Taco and I go through each card, we're gonna give our rating. Either say good, say one of these, and then we're going to try and meet in the middle. So if I say something is good and Taco says something is like maybe okay, we're going to meet in the middle and probably put it in okay good. Just something like that. We're going to hash it out. We're going to try and agree, which is something that is very difficult to do when we have such different opinions, but I'll try to be nice, Taco will try to be nice, and we'll figure a way out.
Yes, try.
Yeah, try. So, good cards are cards that we think will see play instantly, or we're really sure the power level will, like, cause the card to see play. Okay, good is something that we are slightly unsure whether it'll see play or not, but we're sure that the card has a lot of potential, and we wouldn't be surprised if it sees play. Okay is for a card we're slightly more lukewarm on, maybe a card that looks reasonable, but we're not sure if it has the support or the, like, individual strength to see play. Okay bad is for a card that, like you can convince us it's strong, but we're not really sure most of the time whether or not it'll see play. So this is more just an elevation from being memes, which is a card that we just don't think will see play at all, or is too weak. So, okay bad, you should think of it more as just not quite meme, but not really that strong. So, yeah, moving back to Drakthar. Drakthar being this 4 mana 4/4 neutral legendary. I think this is actually strictly good. I've seen this has been released already, and we've seen that it has already fit into quite a few decks. And by that I mean there is a wild deck that runs this card to very high success, and that's Tax Paladin. This is just another copy of Call to Arms for that deck. And I am referencing Wild a little bit here because in Standard it hasn't really fit into anything super relevant, but it has fit into Standard in a Miracle Priest where you can tutor out Veil Weavers and Nazmani Blood Weavers, and that allows you to get them into the res pool for you to rally them back from the dead. And that has done wonders for that deck. But that deck, I believe, you can check me on this later, Taco. But I believe that deck still isn't doing very well. Maybe like a tier 4, maybe low tier 3 performer.
Yeah, maybe low tier 3. It's not great.
So yeah,
it's
exactly.
not gonna. Yeah.
But this card does have potential, is what I'm saying, and I think the potential is strong enough. It is a neutral call to arms, as mentioned, and so I think this is good.
Yeah, I think this is okay bad. We're in an era where we have a lot of good 4-drops, and this card just means that you can't play him. You can't play Kazakus, you can't play Xyrella, which I guess the priest deck doesn't really mind, since this does things that you would rather do than clear the board. Because putting things in play is better than reacting. You can't play Samuro. I think this card's going to struggle when it comes in standard constructed for that reason that the deck building restriction is too much. I could be convinced otherwise if we see some ridiculous 2, 1, 2, and 3 mana cards where playing this is really like really impactful. Also, for you reading this card for the first time, summon 2 of them does not mean summon 2 Drakthars. It means summon 2 of the minions in your deck.
From your deck, yeah.
When I first read this, it wasn't clear to me what this did.
Man, if this was a 12/12, that would be insane.
It's not even that. Yeah, I mean it can be a 12/12, right?
Well, yeah,
there
true.
are probably
It could be.
Or close to that.
Well, it would be three drops are like 3/4s on average. It would kind of get close.
Yeah, this is I wouldn't say it's okay.
It would be worse if it was just vanilla 12/12, right? Because you're pulling things probably with effects. And
yeah, the effects are definitely worth more. Like a Nazmani Blood Weaver,
for sure.
That's worth way more than whatever stats you lost for pulling that out.
You think it's okay bad, is what you said?
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna say this is okay.
I could definitely be convinced to go down on this because it does have the unfortunate luck, I guess, to be printed in the same set as Kazakus. What the devs did, let me pull up Kazakus so that the viewers can understand. But what the devs did is basically, yeah, this is a Forge in the Barrens Kazakus. What the devs did is they printed Kazakus in Forge in the Barrens, and at the same time they printed a whole like load of just amazing 4-drops, so that they would kind of force you to pick between Kazakus and a whole bunch of very powerful 4-drops, so that Kazakus just wasn't thrown into every single deck. It kind of worked, because Kazakus only ended up seeing play in one deck. It was a good deck. Miracle Rogue from Forge in the Barrens was amazing. But that is kind of spilling over now to today with Drakthar. And Vandar also has this similar restriction, so we'll talk about Vandar later. So, speaking about where we want to put him on the tier list. Sorry, go ahead.
Just to go a little bit back more about the 4-drop restriction, you'll see like certain classes just can't play him. Warrior right now has Sword Eater. You're not playing Warrior without Sword Eater. You're gonna have to convince me. Like something really crazy has to come out. Paladin has Carriol. That's probably going to be seen in every single Paladin deck. And Hunters have Warsong Wrangler. So, and I'm sure there's probably more. I can go on and on, but you'll see like 4-drops are pretty good. So this restriction could be very hurtful to Drakthar's overall playability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm definitely willing to meet you in the somewhere lower. Would you be willing to stick it in maybe okay?
Yeah, I'll say it. We can put it in okay.
Yeah.
The effect is pretty powerful. Making a board that early. If you're a shaman, you lightning bloom this out. I don't know. You can do crazy things. I just don't know if it's consistent enough to be a deck.
And moving on to Vandar.
All right. Sorry, there's a little bit of Vandar. Vandar is the other one. 4 mana, 4/4. Battle Cry. If this costs less than every minion in your deck, reduce their cost by 3.
So neutral legendary.
So neutral legendary. This one is just. I'm gonna say this is probably in the meme tier. There's no deck right now that really plays this. I think people have tried, and they look like very goofy decks. Partly because you're trying to take advantage of this mana cost reduction, so you're playing very high cost minions. One deck already in the meta that does try to cheat out minions, of course, is Big Warrior. Big Warrior plays Commencement. You're not playing Vandar with Commencement because Commencement pulls out of Vandar. You just lost the game. This one's a little bit trickier to build a deck around. The other thing about Vandar is that the comparison that I like to think about is Granite. What is it? Granite Forgeborn?
Granite Forgeborn.
The Shaman Elemental. Granite Forgeborn was a very powerful card. That mana cheat was incredible. But the thing about Granite Forgeborn was that you curved into the 4 mana 4/4. You didn't just play this on turn 4 and then like, okay, well now I can play the game. There was minions that came before it, and then it was a natural progression of how tempo decks like to play. So that was a very strong card for that reason, and it still is a strong card when Elemental Shaman is good, which really isn't the case right now. But that's a different story. This is just not a good card. I don't even have high hopes for this.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat. I think this is a pretty meme tier. It's as you described. The decks that I've seen this in look very goofy. It doesn't really slot into Big Warrior, as you mentioned, for the exact same reasons. Commencement, pulling this out is pretty game-losing, when you could be pulling out a defensive minion instead. What this would benefit from the most is, what Vandar would benefit from the most, is minions in the form of spells, or just like quality removal, I guess. But what you're really doing most of the time is, if you don't have any of those, which I don't think most classes have, like a good curve of spell minions that are actually in the form of spells. Like what I'm saying is spells that summon minions. Most classes don't have those. This card is going to be... Oh wait, what am I trying to say? This card is going to be your... yeah, kind of gateway into being able to play the game, is what you mentioned before. So, like, you won't be playing anything, and then you play this, and then you're just going to hope to top deck, like, a good minion that's discounted enough for you to play it, right? So, what I'm saying is that what this card forces you to do in deck building is it forces you to include spells. And when you include spells, and you include a higher density of spells, this card doesn't work, like, as well as it could. Because as soon as you play this, you ideally want to start just top decking minion after minion after minion, and then slamming them on board over and over again. So, ultimately, what the strongest thing I see this card do, I can see this card do right now, is maybe enable a combo, maybe reduce the cost of something, like, expensive and very, like, pivotal to a combo. Like, for example, just throwing it up in there, the air, like, maybe an Il'gynoth, reducing the cost of Il'gynoth to 3 mana instead of 6, just as a, not really as like that's how it'll work, but because, you know, there are more artificers in the deck that you know, can't Vandar. But that's the type of thing that I could see this do, like reduce things in the range of being able to play them all on the same turn for an OTK combo. But you can't really guarantee that the minions you're trying to reduce will be in the deck. So yeah, ultimately this is just a huge restriction that doesn't really have a payoff that I believe can work. So, going here, we did both agree, so I think it's pretty safe to just put this in the meme.
Okay.
And then moving on to the card that I chose specifically to review this week, Lightforged Cariel. This card is a hero card, and I chose to review this because I just think this card is sweet. This does so much stuff. And let me read this card, actually. I should do that first. 7 mana Paladin Hero. Battlecry, deal 2 damage to all enemies, and equip a 2/5 immovable object. So the immovable object is a 2/5 weapon. This doesn't lose durability, and your hero takes half damage rounded up. And what this means is that it takes half damage from every single source possible. From spells, from minions, from fatigue damage, from you hitting into a minion. Like, it does a lot in terms of saving you health. And Blessing of Queens is the hero power, a funny callback to Blessing of Kings. This is a 2-mana hero power that gives a random minion in your hand +4/+4. That is a lot of stats for 2 mana. And honestly, in the late game, after you've played Lightforged Cariel, pressing this hero power looks really sweet because it makes like some of the weakest early game minions, it turns them into huge threats in the late game. So if you couldn't tell, overall I believe this card is good. I think it is very viable. It has a lot of strength packed into it. And very specifically, I believe the E-movable object is really ridiculously strong. And what it really does is it kind of effectively doubles your health pool, and the armor that you gain from playing her, this 5 armor here, is actually 10 armor because Immovable Object doubles that as well. And it also doubles any healing cards that you put in your deck, for example, Libram of Hope. And so overall, I just think that this card just turns you into a mega tank, and it would have seen play probably right now in Libram Paladin. So overall, I do have to give this card a good rating. How do you feel, Taco?
I dislike this card, but not because I think it's bad. The card is very strong. I want to see more finishers when cards are this powerful. This is just a stall card. The damage that you do from immovable object to your opponent's face is 2. It's actually 1 if they're also Cariel, but that's a funny situation. And the hero power itself, Blessing the Queen's a +4/+4. It's limited by how many cards you can draw, which is okay in Paladin. They don't have terrible card draw. They have Bannerman, Hand of a Doll. There's some flexibility there in getting minions to your hand. You're probably also gonna play an encumbered pack mule maybe. So it'll do things, but it's not as infinite as things that we've seen, and it doesn't really end the game. These minions also have to stick. They have to hit your opponent in the face. And so, like, yeah, it's obviously very strong. It's just not really exactly the excitement of hero power, a hero card that I was.
Yeah, you're just pointing
for.
out maybe some weaknesses to the hero, which is it definitely has weaknesses, but overall, would you? Here's my question: would you agree that this would see play in Libram Paladin right now?
Probably, yeah. I think it will.
Yeah,
I think it would. It's a little bit weird in Libram Paladin because Libram Paladin is like 30% spells. If you look at it, but like just playing this thing, just having a movable object and your opponent not really being able to kill you, like that just buys you so much. That just does so much.
Wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think this immovable object is the main part of the card?
I would say, yeah. I think it's a good part of the card. I not to say the other things don't matter at all. Like the consecration you get. Like that matters. That allows you. That's what I was talking about. Hero cards like that lets you safely play this card without dying.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, true.
That immovable object is more important than the hero power.
Yeah. The thing you pointed out, this consecration effect, this is really good on hero cards, like kind of board clears, because it lets you play the hero safely. This is something that we've seen in Deathstalker Rexxar, which is one of the older hero cards, where it was also very cheap, which is what made it also really good. But it had this deal 2 damage to all minions effect, where like you could use him as a board clear while also developing Rexxar. And this hero power was really sweet back in the day. So, yep, consecration on this hero power on this hero card very good, and we've both rated as good, so that's actually no need to fight there. All right, moving on.
We got the next hero card. Wildheart Guff. This is a 5 mana hero card for Druid. Battlecry, set your maximum mana to 20. Gain a mana crystal, draw a card. So that's 1 big Battlecry. And then the hero power is... Hero power again. Choose 1, draw a card, or gain a mana crystal. And it costs 2 mana. So, yeah, right off, like, there's these hero cards, like, they do a lot. There's a lot of information to interpret here. I'm just gonna go over the more important one, which is the gain a mana crystal, draw a card. This costs 5. You play Guff, you draw a card, and then you gain 1 mana crystal back. So it's actually technically 4 mana crystals, but you have to play it on turn 5 and onwards. The hero power itself is it's either you draw a card, you become a warlock, or you ramp a mana crystal. I will say I don't think setting your maximum mana to 20 really matters. If you ever do get to that game state, it's pretty cool. You can corrupt the Carnival Clown and play it in the same turn.
Oh yeah.
But most of your games probably won't get there. I think like maybe maximum you'll see 15, 16 if that. Um, yeah, this is a powerful card. I think this will see play in Anaconda Druid, an archetype that we have already. This is good both post and pre Celestial Alignment. It's just a solid good card. I would say this is good.
Yeah, I agree with
Well,
everything you
assuming
said.
Druid is good.
Say again?
Yeah. Yeah, assuming Druid is good, this is good, but we don't know if Druid will be good.
I agree with
But,
everything you said. I just want to maybe clarify exactly. I just want to repeat what you said, but make it more clear. This when it says gain a mana crystal, that's different from gaining an empty mana crystal. What Wild Growth does is it gained you an empty mana crystal, but gaining an actual mana crystal is the effect that Nourish does in Standard, where you ramp, but also you get these 2 mana crystals back. So when you play Nourish, you gain 2 empty mana crystals, but you also gain 2 mana crystals back. So Nourish effectively only costed 4 mana, but you had to first spend 6 mana. The same thing with Guff. Guff essentially costs 4 mana, but you have to have spent 5 mana originally. So it'll refund you this, and then the same thing with the Hero Power. It'll refund you this. So just for example, if you're on 6 mana and you play Guff, you go down to 1 mana. He gives you the mana crystal back. And so you're at 2 mana, then you can press his Hero Power, which will give you another empty mana crystal, and also refund you a mana crystal back. So you started at 6 maximum mana, you ended at 8 maximum mana, and you get 1 mana crystal left to actually spend. So moving on to the Celestial Alignment example, pre-Celestial Alignment, you'll be ramping into Celestial Alignment, which is really good. You'll be ramping closer to Celestial Alignment, which is good. But post Celestial Alignment, this will cost 1, you will ramp, it'll refund you, and you'll draw a card. So actually what this does is it costs no mana, it ramps you, and it draws you a card. So it costs you nothing at all. It didn't cost you a card draw, it didn't cost you a mana at all post alignment. So everything about this is just amazing. And the Warlock Hero Power, obviously one of the strongest in all of Hearthstone, probably the strongest hero power in all of Hearthstone. This time without a downside, so you don't deal damage to yourself. And also gaining an empty mana crystal. Gaining a mana crystal is Wild Growth plus. So overall, just a card that does a lot. This is a very cheap amount to pay for a hero. I believe it is the cheapest hero, tied with Thrall from Knights of the Frozen Throne. And yeah, we both said it's good. So yeah, easy again. You can see a pattern here. The heroes are very, very good.
Very good, yeah.
Moving on to the first honorable kill card. This is a 2 mana hunter weapon. It's a 2 mana 2/2 called Bloodseeker, and honorable kill gain +1/+1. I've got this card personally rated as okay bad. And the reason for that is that it is not easy to get this honorable kill off, and I believe 2/2 in terms of stats isn't actually a very strong initial stat line for a 2 mana weapon. So if you do get this honorable kill off, then it becomes a 3/2 weapon because you get the durability back, and that's when it starts to get interesting and maybe potentially is playable. But that's if you get the honorable kill off. So I don't really think the initial impact is high enough for me to believe that this card sees play. How do you feel?
I like this card a lot more than you do, but I will also I think this is okay bad. This could see play when things rotate, because it's not that weak. Like it's wholly playable to have a 2/2 weapon that becomes the 3/2. Like a 2 mana 3/2 is also known as Fiery War Axe, or pre-nerf Fiery War Axe. It's pretty solid. It's just right now we just I don't think there's a spot for this. And if this is absolutely bad, then it's just really the fault of the mechanic, that you just can't find things to kill that have 2 health, which could also happen.
Yeah, looking at the other weapons currently in Standard for Hunter, we've got True Aim Crescent. This is a very, very powerful weapon for Face Hunter. And Ringling's Rifle, this is probably arguably the best Hunter weapon across all time.
Yep.
And Headhunter's Hatchet, I actually think we're roughly, when we look at Bloodseeker being a 2/2 weapon that has potential to grow into a 3/2 weapon, Headhunter's Hatchet is kind of on a similar power level, where it's a 2-mana 2/2 weapon that has the potential to be a 2/3 weapon instead. So we're talking about kind of roughly a similar weapon here, and Headhunter's Hatchet hasn't seen play yet. So yeah, I do believe this is on the lower power scale, and we both said it was okay bat, so it's actually very easy. We could stick that there.
Yep.
Moving on to the card that Taco chose to review this time. Go ahead. No private.
Oh, sorry, you cut out there. Yeah, Gnome Private. We have a 1-mana 1/3 neutral minion. Honorable kill, gain +2 attack. Yeah, this is just... I chose this really to just show off the snowbally nature of Honorable Kill, not that it's really snowbally. This is a 1-mana 1/3. Comes a 1-mana 2... What is it? 1-mana 3/2. If it kills a 1/1, and if it kills another 1/3, it becomes a 1-mana 5/1. So yeah, it's just such a bad mechanic, Honorable Kill, in terms of awkwardness. Ideally, you play this if you can get it to be a 1-mana 3/2. It's a reasonable card. It's like an Intrepid Initiate the spell burst. But because Intrepid Initiate comes out as a 3/2 with the spell burst, and you didn't have to trade, Intrepid Initiate is just strictly a better card. Yeah, this card, they end up being the same stats. Funny. But yeah, this card, I rate this as okay bad. I'm not even sure if this sees play post rotation. We'll have to see. The 1-mana 1/3 stat line, at least in my opinion, isn't really what you're looking for in an aggressive deck. And also having to trade to get the initial value makes it a bit weaker. I don't think we'll see this played in the next 6-set meta. In the 4-set meta, I could be wrong, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah. So the last episode, I was very surprised when we recorded this. Before, I was very surprised when you had said this was okay bad, because I completely disagree, and I still completely disagree. I still think this is good. Actually, I think this is an actual good card, mainly because it is a well-statted and aggressive 1-drop, and those across time have just seen so much play. Dire Mole, Firefly, Blazing Battle Mage, these are all examples of just neutral aggressive 1-drops that aggressive decks have just picked up and just used to very high success. So this being a 1-mana 1/3 is probably good enough on that alone. Some deck is probably looking to pick this up. I was thinking Shadow Priest. I know you didn't agree with that. But the only reason that this card wouldn't see play... Oh, and also Intrepid Initiate is also an example of that. A good aggressive neutral 1-drop, and that's kind of the only reason that this card wouldn't see play. It's because Intrepid Initiate is probably the best of all neutral 1-drops across all of Hearthstone's history. So this is the premium neutral 1-drop, and
Patches.
well, that's not a one. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's not patches, but yeah. So the only reason why I wouldn't see play Gnome Private is because it's going against Intrepid Initiate, and this might take the deck slot from it. So yeah. I'm definitely willing to go lower on this. I'm trying to meet you in the middle here, but how do you feel about okay good?
I'd say it's more okay. Did you rate this as good?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you want to say? Okay?
Up to you. I'll let you be the tiebreaker.
I do really think that it is good.
Okay.
It has that potential, and it does like kind of like punish the opponent for playing these 1-health minions that we do know in the meta, which is things like, actually I can do this, yeah. Things like this Knight of Anointment is very likely to come out on 1. The Cubs from Adorable Infestation are 1/1s that your opponent has to put in play, kind of. Demon Companion. Peasant, yeah, Peasant's a really good one. Peasant being on this page instead. Nope, on this page instead. Yep, Peasant. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to get this honorable kill. And if it does get the honorable kill, would you agree that this is very likely to see play? Like if you could basically guarantee it yourself.
How would you get the other part about how would you get the honorable kill would be either your opponent reluctantly plays their Peasant, or they play the Peasant, you play this, and they trade into you to not get the honorable kill.
That's good though.
That would be weird. They could.
That's good though.
Um,
I don't think anyone would ever do that though.
all right, probably not. It's just I don't know. It also does stat line the 1 mana 1/3. We have Stockades Guard. We even have a 1 mana 2/2s that don't see play. I think that the 1 drop standard has gone a lot higher. A Druid has a 2 mana 2/2 that doesn't see play in aggressive Druid decks.
Hmm.
Partly because it's not a taunt minion.
Yeah.
Um, I think that card's in rotation, right?
Yeah, it
The
is.
one
It is.
mana 2/2.
It's the like
Yeah, can't remember the name of
I
it.
forgot what it's called, but it's certainly a 1 drop that's in Druid, and it is a 2/2.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
But
you're referring to
being a
this.
neutral, yeah, Enchanted Raven. But being a neutral, like it's 10 times. It has 10 more options or
9.
9 more options of seeing play besides just Druid. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
This Stockades Guard. You know what? Yeah, I do remember you
it's
brought
not.
this. Yeah, yeah. This is a really. They're kind of similar minions. They are.
All right.
Maybe I'm willing to. Whatever. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it at
We'll leave it there.
where we stuck it.
It-
But the next
Okay.
card is Knight Captain, a 5 mana 3/3 neutral with Battlecry deal 3 damage and Honorable Kill gain +3/+3. So what this card does is it can get the Honorable Kill from the Battlecry. So if it deals 3 damage to a 3 health minion and kills it, it will become a 5 mana 6/6. So you're kind of rewarded for the Battlecry also being an Honorable Kill. And that's nice and all, but this is actually probably just a pack filler card. I believe it is pretty meme tier. If you can consider this a meme.
Well, it's I think I would go a little bit higher than meme. Okay, bad.
I think it's pack filler.
Because I think this. I think this. I don't think it's not like pack filler where we have Elwyn Boar, right? Like that's clearly pack filler. This has some uses in other game modes, like in Arena. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, but we're
The
waiting
deal
for
3 damage, the fast damage that you do to get a 6/6, like that's pretty strong. And if it's a 6/6 and it kills something, it becomes a 9/9. That probably never happened, but that could happen. It's not the worst thing in the world. But it's, I mean, if we can say it's pack filler, I just
I do believe. Yeah.
I want to save like pack filler for like strictly dumpster cards that
I
will
do
never see
believe this
play.
is a strictly dumpster card. This is never going to see play in standard, I believe.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
We can put it there. I'm not strongly attached to it.
Yeah.
Either way.
So yeah, the comparison that we drew before was to Burrowing Scorpid,
Growing
which
Scarpid,
was
right?
which is also an arena, a good arena card. And yeah, I do agree with you that Knight Captain will be very good in arena. But if we're talking about standard constructed play, Burrowing Scorpid is a similar card, and it did see play, but it saw play because this stealth that it gained was actually relevant to Stealth Rogue, aggressive Stealth Rogue in Skullman's Academy. And that was the only time it actually saw play, and it was a really good card in that deck. But if we are looking at Knight Captain, it has no tribal tag, it has no stealth, it has no keyword gain, so this is kind of just a vanilla minion. And it's a vanilla minion that does, do fast things, like, does fast damage, but that's not exactly good enough to see play in standard. So
Okay.
we're settling on meme / pack filler.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Moving on to... I lied, not this one. Okay, here you go. This is yours.
All right, Siphon Mana. It is a mage arcane spell. Deal 2 damage. Honorable Kill. Reduce the cost of spells in your hand by 1. 2 damage. We just had to nerf to Spell Mage. This probably fits in pretty nicely. There are quite a few minions with 2 health, so you could get the Honorable Kill. But again, this is just the Honorable Kill, really holding it back. You're either playing it to get that damage in, or completing parts of the request, or you're holding it for a really long time to get the spell reduction. If you do get the reduction, it's pretty powerful. I mean, reducing the cost of spells in your hand, making everything cheaper. We've seen Octa Bot and what that does for Rogue. Like, it's a powerful effect. It's just limited by the situational, and also by how bad the archetype is. I don't know where to put this. I'm okay with okay bad or meme pack filler. It's probably not pack filler because it does something. I'm okay with okay bad on this one.
Yeah, so I just struggled putting the Octa Bot on the screen because I actually didn't know that it had a hyphen in there. Learn something every day. But you said okay bad?
Yeah, okay bad. I could go lower. I'm not really.
I'm I'm
This is
feeling
another
the
one that
okay
I'm not.
bad as well.
Okay.
I do think that the nerf to spell mage, or questline mage rather is what we should call it. I do think that nerf did hurt, and it wasn't really ever an actual good deck. It kind of got nerfed for being suffocating to later game strategies because of its strong inevitability in Ignite. This probably does go into that deck, but that deck didn't start off very good, and even especially after the nerf, it's even worse. This is a very, very strong effect, but as you said, getting off the honorable kill is kind of the difference maker in whether or not it's actually strong or just flat out weak, because 2 mana deal 2 damage isn't very large amounts of damage. It is worth mentioning though that this is in Mage, which has a hero power that does interact with health. So if you wanted to, you have the option of pinging off a 3 health minion and then playing Siphon Mana to kind of guarantee the honorable kill. I kind of want to just highlight that across all the classes that have a ping. Honorable kill is a better mechanic in those classes, so classes like Rogue, Druid, Mage, and Demon Hunter will find it easier to honorable kill to activate their honorable kills, because they do have something readily available in their hero power to interact with health totals before you play the honorable kill card or make that honorable kill trade. So it's as doomy as we are on honorable kill as a mechanic overall, it is easier to proc in Mage, and so this card isn't as limited by honorable kill as it would be in other classes. Octa Bot, obviously a very strong effect to have activate, especially in, and we know this would be strong in Spell Mage as well, or Questline Mage. I keep messing up that name, but in Questline Mage as well, because that deck runs Incanter's Flow to reduce the cost of every spell in their deck. So reducing the cost of every spell in their hand is also kind of a similar thing. So yeah, everything points to this being playable in Questline Mage. It's just a matter of Questline Mage not actually being very good. So okay bad is definitely the rating that I'm feeling on this.
All right.
Moving on to the objectives. This is the first objective, Dunbalder Bunker. This is a 2 mana hunter objective, therefore it's a spell. So a 2 mana hunter spell that reads, at the end of your turn, draw a secret and set its cost to 1, and this lasts 3 turns. I've got this rated as a bad card, and I think it's bad because hunters don't really have secrets that they intend to run right now. Most hunters, the only secret that is being run in a type of hunter is Explosive Trap in Quest Hunter, and that is just 1 secret. So you could play Dunbalder Bunker in that deck if we do get another damaging secret to help progress the quest line, but that is not something that I think is very valuable either, because it's just a slow effect. Like when you play this card, it does absolutely nothing. And at the end of your turn, you draw a secret, so the turn after you can play your secret, and that's just too slow most of the time, I feel. It does offer Hunter something that they value, which is card draw. It draws 3 cards over 3 turns, though, and that's probably the issue I'm having with this card. It's just very slow. Everything about it is just slightly delayed. And when you compare this to the other objectives that we'll be reviewing later, this is a different type of objective. It's an objective that has a very strong effect, but weakens it by diluting it over 3 turns. Like, you're drawing 3 secrets, but you're drawing them 1 at a time over 3 turns. And the other objectives are not like that. They have a strong effect, and it's persistent throughout 3 turns, and we'll see that right after this card. But yeah, overall, I think this card is bad. Yeah, Face Hunter won't be running this. Yeah.
I had this at okay, a little bit higher. It really depends a lot on what the next secret is. Progressing your quest as a hunter is very important, because getting to that second stage means that your hero power can be used as a control tool, since it's able to ping minions, just so that you can survive and get to your win condition. When you do get to your win condition of playing the what's his name, the sharpshooter man, yeah,
The quest reward.
You need, yeah, the quest reward. You need cards, and Bunker kind of provides you card draw, provides you fuel to be able to keep spamming that hero power so that you can burn your opponent in the face. And yeah, again, I agree with everything Dara said. This is very dependent on what is that secret? Is it snipe? Is it explosive runes? Is it something that can actually hit the opponent in the face? Um, so yeah, I don't want to doom this yet. I could see this. This is also like I'm also opposite of you on this one in terms of objectives. This is actually one of the objectives that actually does something when it's played. Like it's guaranteed to get value. You play this, you know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a card. The other ones, you're not really sure. I don't want to say you're absolutely not sure, like, oh, you don't really know what's going to happen, but it's really dependent on other cards being in your hand to actually do something. Whereas this just by itself draws cards. Not the worst thing. Not the worst thing in the world. I think it could see play. I'm not really sure how strong it is yet.
I'll expand on that thought when we see the next one. But I think the final nail in the coffin, at least for me personally, in at least a Face Hunter, is that this is a 2-cost spell, which means you can draw it off of Barak Kodobane, which is a bad thing because you actually want Quick Shot. That does actually burn your opponent in a Face Hunter.
Yeah,
so this will never see play in Face Hunter.
We'll never see playing Face Hunter. It's just a question of will this see playing Quest? Okay. Quest Hunter right now has a weakness of has a pretty good weakness of card draw, of card generation, where it's playing Scorpions and Wand Makers just to get extra cards that feel that hero power, which isn't something it wants to do. It's something it has to do. Interesting to see if this solves that problem.
So you said it's okay. I said it's bad / meme / pack filler. So
this
yeah, we'll stick it right in the middle.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to the next card. This is your objective, or your card rather.
Snowfall Graveyard. It is a rogue objective. Your death rattle is triggered twice. It lasts 3 turns. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this card. We have 2 death rattles right now in standard. The plush bear, shuffle bear, whatever his name is, and Lillian. Both of them are pretty reasonable death rattles. Ticketmaster. That's the one that shuffles 3 tickets in your deck. When you draw them, or cast one, draw them, you get a 3/3 bear. And then, of course, Infiltrator Lillian. It summons a 4/2 that randomly attacks something. Could attack your opponent in the face. Yeah, those are reasonable death rattles, but we haven't seen enough Rogue to see what this objective actually does. Doubling either of those death rattles is good, I guess. I don't know if it's enough to make a deck. But I can be optimistic about this, and this will do something. Just on the fact, like, when you play this, you don't really know what's going to happen. It lasts 3 turns. If you have if you have no death rattle in your hand, you make the choice of either you say, okay, next turn I'm going to draw something, or you're just going to say, okay, I'm not going to play this. This is really weird for me to judge. It's why these objectives are really hard for me to rate, because I'm not sure how you're supposed to play them yet. And yeah, that's it for Snowfall. I'm going to say it's okay because I have no idea. It's because I'm just unsure. So I'll put it somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I personally agree with you on the okay rating, and maybe I can explain more why. This card does absolutely nothing in Rogue right now. It won't be good in Rogue as we know it right now. But Rogue has gotten like a lot of these Death Rattle support cards, such as Sketchy Information or Counterfeit Blade. These are very, very powerful cards in what they do. They are very powerful supporting cards for a Death Rattle Rogue. The problem with Rogue that you mentioned a little bit is that it doesn't have good Death Rattles. Ticketmaster is alright, and Infiltrator Lillian is alright, but they're not really like good Death Rattles. They're not really like powerful Death Rattles. So even though we have these excellent support cards in, Sketchy Information, Counterfeit Blade, and now Snowfall Graveyard, we don't have a Death Rattle that we really want to trigger yet. And that's kind of what Death Rattle Rogue has been missing all of this time. So while I can see the potential of this card, I can't, and this card is actually very, very powerful. I'll expand on that a little later. But while I can see the potential of this card, I cannot actually say that it sees play. And maybe referring back to the bunker that we just reviewed, your Death Rattles trigger twice is this isn't like a strong effect that's being diluted by the fact that it's over 3 turns. It's just a persistent effect. This is basically just like casting, like a ghost, like a dormant, like an uninteractable Baron Rivendare onto the field. Yeah. So it's not like what I'm trying to say is that it's just always there, and it's always there right from the start. Instead of like drawing all of your stuff slowly over 3 turns, like instantly from the point you play this to the point 3 turns later, you have this effect up. So yeah, that's why I think this is probably a better or stronger effect than the bunker, but this is actually even less likely to see played than the bunker, strangely enough, just because of the lack of rogue death rattles. I will say that this effect is ridiculously strong when we compare it to something like Necrium Vial in Wild. This is a 5-mana trigger, 5-mana rogue spell that triggers a friendly minion's death rattle twice, whereas this is a 3-mana version of that, basically, and because you're probably going to play it while you have a death rattle on the board, or are about to trigger a death rattle with, for example, the Counterfeit Blade. So, death rattle. So, what I'm trying to say is that we've seen this card before, and it was 5 mana, and it wasn't good at 5 mana, but it's probably good when you make it 3 mana and make it last through like 3 turns. And not only that, it not only just triggers on minions, but also just triggers on any death rattle that triggers. So Sketchy Information would trigger twice. Counterfeit Blade would trigger twice. So this has a lot of synergy with what Rogue is doing right now in the death rattle field, in terms of it's a good card, but again, no Rogue death rattle. So overall, just okay. Otherwise, I think it would be good.
Yeah, and the reason we're a little bit higher on this, and this isn't a main pack filler card, is because twice is a really big number. That's not like small. That's a huge difference. It's like if you've ever played Battlegrounds, like a Goldrin and a Baron is the difference between, like, that Baron is the difference between first place and fifth place. Like it is a huge number. So if you can get like Death Rattle, if you can get that doubling scaling, of your cards, you're getting twice the value. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So
and how your opponent plays around this also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, not going to disrespect the trigger, the twice keyword.
Yeah. And
it's not a keyword, but
yeah, how your opponent plays around this is they would preemptively clear your death rattles so that you can't play a Snowfall Graveyard and get the value right away. And that's a good thing for a death rattle deck. When your opponent is actually scared of your death rattles, proccing twice, and or you abusing that death rattle sticking on the board somehow. So making them trade into your stuff is actually really strong. But again, we got nothing like that. So moving on. We've got the Dunbalder Bridge. This is the Paladin objective, a 4-mana spell. After you summon a minion, give it +2/+2, and this lasts 3 turns. I've got this rated at bad. It's probably just overcosted, is my thoughts. It is a little hard to evaluate because +2/+2 is a very large boost, but spending 4 mana to do nothing is a very large investment. So the strongest thing I could come up with, at least for this card, was you play it out on 4 mana, and then you spend your 5 mana turn playing, I think it's called Stand Against Darkness, which summons 5 Silverhand Recruits. And these Silverhand Recruits, instead of being 1/1s, are actually 3/3s, so you spend 5 mana to develop 15/15 worth of stats. That doesn't sound that bad, but it also just does die to 1 clear, and they're not like, I don't know, that you spent 9 mana overall to do that. So I'm feeling that and that is the strongest thing that you could do that comes to mind right away. So my feelings are that this is probably Quest Paladin support or some kind of Silverhand Recruit Paladin support. And I'm not really feeling like those are really strong things, so I'm probably rating this as bad.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think this is a good card. I'm also not sure how to rate this. This is part of the problem with objectives the last 3 turns, because it's really hard to evaluate. So on turn 4, you play this. On turn 5, okay, we see what happens on turn 5. But it's really hard to evaluate. Okay, then on turn 6 and turn 7, what do those turns look like? Because I played this on turn 4. That's really hard for me to judge without having played this card. The resources. One of the things about this buff is that it's you're if you draw a minion, you're continuously getting the fuel. You're a paladin, you have a hero power, so you're getting that +2/+2 value somehow, even if it's not the most efficient way of getting it. We've seen +2/+2 buffs before, conditioning, Conditioning was a good card because, well, first it costs 2 mana. You played it on turn 5, and you could follow it up with a 3-drop. So you were going to get tempo the turn that you played it, and then you didn't really matter what happened after that. On turn 6, you probably also had a +2/+2 minion, and so on and so on, and then like that snowballed. So I don't know how to gauge this snowball if it's good enough. The fact that it costs 4 is kind of tells me that this might be powerful, because if it was a little bit worse, I feel like they could have gotten away with this being at 3 mana. If this was truly a bad card, there might be something here. I don't know what it is, but I could be wrong. I'm just gonna be willing to be wrong about this and just say this is not a good card.
So you mentioned conditioning, and that jogged my memory about what we said before. Also, another reason why this is not exactly the most thrilling card is that Paladin has gotten a lot of hand buff related cards, and this is not exactly a hand buffing card. This is an aura that like gives +2/+2 after a minion has entered the field, and that's actually very, very different from actually having a hand buff, because Paladin has this card, First Blade of Rin, which has a battle cry that like rewards you for having actually hand buffed it in hand. So if you play the Dunbalder Bridge and then you play First Blade of Rin, the First Blade of Rin's battle cry will go off, and then it will get the +2/+2. So the battle cry won't even register that this has 4. Will not register that this has 4 attack until after this minion has come into play. So the battle cry has to resolve, and you don't really get the rush. And also the other card is Catacomb Guard, which functions the exact same way. You won't actually get the buff until after this battle cry goes off. So it doesn't fit into a hand buff Paladin idea in that sense. And yeah, it's just not what Paladin's doing right now. The other way to abuse this is if you play this on maybe like turn like a later turn, maybe like turn 5 or 6, maybe 7, and then like kind of play a 1-drop next to it. But Paladin doesn't really have the easiest way to kind of refill on 1-drops, and that, you know, I mentioned 1-drops here because Quest Paladin is kind of incentivizing you to run these 1-drops, so you can kind of make them stronger by playing Dunbalder Bridge. But again, Quest Paladin not exactly the best archetype. Like if your biggest cry to be competitive is Quest Paladin, is fitting into Quest Paladin, probably not a good card.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say this could be a sleeper, and I'm not using that word where like I'm smarter than everyone and this is a strong card. I don't understand this card fully, and it could surprise me, and I think it's bad.
Yeah, so we both say it's bad. It's a pretty just thinking bad.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to So we got a few hunter cards revealed, kind of in that first day. So we're gonna start with Ram Tamer. This is yours.
Ram Tamer. All right, we have a Hunter Minion, 3 mana 4/3. Battle cry: if you control secret, gain +1/+1 in stealth. So it becomes a 5/3 minion with stealth if you have if you control
5/4.
secret. +5/+4, right? If you control secret.
What? What are you saying? It becomes a 5/4.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I said. It becomes a 5/4 with stealth if you have a secret.
Hold on. First of all, you said it was a 5/3. And then you said it was a +5/+4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, it's
a 5/4.
Okay. It's a 5/4 stealth. All right. If you control secret, I don't think this fits anywhere. I have to see more. I have to see more of what it is. The secret has to be sticky. It can't be like an explosive or freezing trap. Because of course, you know, those are easier to proc. You probably want like what's the animal companion one? I don't remember the name of that card.
Open the cages.
Open the cages, something like that. Right? That's not likely to trigger, but then you're playing a card that does nothing just to get +1/+1 in stealth. Is it worth it? I don't know. I don't think it is. I'm gonna go okay bad. I could see this scene play maybe in the future because like it's not a terrible stat line. It doesn't absolutely do nothing. Actually, I'm just gonna double down and say I think this is pack filler. I just think this is bad.
I think it's okay bad. You
Right
should
about it.
Man.
Okay, I can go up. It's
Okay,
it's
good,
not,
good.
It's not a horrible,
You come back.
like,
you
it's
come
not a
back up.
horrible stat line, and I'm not like
Yeah.
I just don't see the scene play.
It's not a horrible stat line. It's also, if you can get this effect off, it's actually really strong. So the card itself, I believe, is decent. Putting something in stealth and also making it have such a high attack stat is threatening in some regard. Um, if you can't get the secret down to stick, this is obviously a really bad card. So I'm not sold that it's a very strong card, but it is.
Oh,
What?
oh, sorry. I understand the intention now. Okay, so we had the objective. The objective gives you 1 mana secret. So you played this on 4. Is that how
Yeah.
math works? What's
Yeah.
the objective cost?
Yeah, it costs 2, and then you
Costs
draw
2.
the secret and
You draw the
hold it.
secret, and
I
on
mean,
turn
you'd be
4,
drawing
you
secrets
can guarantee
endlessly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could guarantee it if you played the objective. So does it make it better? Yes. Does it matter? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm not really so like it's just Face Hunter, which is what would be probably running this secret package. Just I'm not really convinced that Face Hunter can swap out like a large section of their cards for like Dunbalder Bridge and like Ram Tamer and like any other like I'm not convinced that that we can run a huge secret package in Face Hunter currently because it just does something totally different. Like it's not secrets. That's what it is. So, this is a good card, but not right now. And if it is a good card and if it does see play right now, it would probably go into a Face Hunter, and I would have to see like a really crazy secret or like more payoffs for Ram Tamer. We do have more. I'm sorry, more payoffs other than Ram Tamer. We do have currently a secret idea in Hunter, as in like we have Petting Zoo, which rewards you for controlling secrets. And obviously we have Mystery Winner, which gives you a secret. So we do have like and Ringling's Rifle also, which is excellent hunter weapon, by the way, beautiful weapon. I love this weapon. But these cards just haven't seen play in quite a while. Haven't seen play in quite a while without Phase Stalker, which is now which has been long rotated to Wild. So yeah, it's just tough for this card to see play. It is a good card. I do maintain it is a good card. Stealth with high attack stats are really threatening, especially for Hunter, which can burn you down. So getting to guarantee 5 attack, go into the opponent's face, is just so good for Hunter. But yeah, we're gonna stick this in okay bad for now. Oh, right next to the Dunbalder Bridge, which is probably what it's gonna see play with. So that's solid.
Also interesting that this is Ram Tamer and it gains stealth, so it kind of works at ramming mount because you have a minion that your opponent can interact with.
Yeah.
Kind of likely to stick them out. Maybe there's synergy there. I don't know.
Okay, moving on to the next Hunter card. This is a 3-mana Hunter spell, Revive Pet. Discover a friendly beast that died this game and summon it. So the first comparison I drew when I saw this is to the wild card Eternal Servitude. And this card is a card that sees play in Big Priest in Wild. Priest is a very different class though, and so it being 4 mana versus this being 3 mana is there's a difference, right? There's obviously different. The difference is 1 mana. But what I'm trying to say is this card isn't, despite doing roughly what Eternal Servitude does for even less mana, this card is not really that good in Hunter. Because Hunter has a tough time cheating out these big beasts. They haven't really been able to do that since the Katharina Winterwisp days. And that was like years ago. That was like 3 years ago. So it's really tough to see this card being like seeing play. But what this card does is strong. So if Hunter is able to cheat out these big beasts like King Crush, it might... I mean, this card would be great. So I'm going to give this an okay bad, but we're leaning on very bad here. Like I'm barely calling it better than meme tier.
I kind of want to give this meme tier. We know almost all the Hunter cards. We don't know the hero card yet. So we have a good idea of the direction of what Hunter is, and I think mathematically one of them has to be a secret.
Hopefully.
Just because the printed secret cards. And one of them is the hero card, and I think one of them we don't know. Could be a big beast, could be something. So it's unlikely that this card is any good. Yeah, let's check really quick.
We got 5 of the Hunter cards already.
We have 5. One of them is going to be the hero card. One of them probably is going to be a secret. And so how many cards is that left? It's like 7, and I think there's 8
left.
There's 3 cards left, yeah. So, is that going to be enough? Probably not. I'm skeptical that this will work. This effect actually reminds me more of Charged Call, where if you played Shaman, sometimes you just need a minion in the mid game to maintain tempo. it kind of feels like that, but not really, because you also need a minion to die, and the fact that a minion has to die first really it just throws me off. I don't know how you play this, and you can't even play Death Rattle Beasts because a lot of Death Rattle Beasts they summon smaller beasts. So if you played something like a Teacher's Pet and the Teacher's Pet spawned like I don't know some random beast that isn't good, a Venomous Scorpion, right? You just put a Venomous Scorpion in your res pool. Venomous Scorpion, great card. Resing it, not so much. Maybe do Rat King things with it. The more I look at it, the more it just doesn't seem like a good card.
So yeah,
I'm convinced this is me.
Yeah, that's the other problem. There's not really any good beasts to revive. All the Death Rattle beasts are like Teacher's Pet or like Savannah Highmane or like Importance Tarantula. These are all like just not good things to revive. So yeah, this is just it's hard. Yeah, it's hard for this to see play. It would need a lot of support, and for now, I guess I would put it in the meme tier just because it's much more likely to work with King Crush, and I don't think we're returning to a King Crush idea this expansion.
Yeah, unless like the Tavish hero power is like summon a King Crush randomly. I don't know. 5 mana summon a King Crush.
That'd be overkill. That would be some crazy, crazy powerful card. All right, anyway. This is the next Hunter card. Go ahead. It's yours.
All right. Speaking of cards, meme hunter cards, we got Wing Commander Ikemen. It is a 9-mana 5/4, but it doesn't end there. Card just gets better. Summon a beast from your deck and give it rush. If it kills a minion this turn, repeat. I have no idea what they're thinking. I don't know why this costs 9 mana. I don't know why this effect is so bad. Because it gives the beast rush, and it has to kill a minion to get more value, so your opponent has to have a board. And so you play this on 9 while your opponent has a board, and it also has to kill that minion, and then you have to randomly have beasts in your deck. This is the definition of me. There's no way this card sees play.
Yeah, I cannot imagine a world in this card sees play. I do agree it's very meme. It's just so much worse than it has the same deck building restriction as Tavish, the legendary, Tavish, not the hero card and not the questline reward, but it has the same kind of deck building restriction as Tavish, where you have to include a lot of beasts into your deck or somehow find a way to get beasts back into your deck. And then it also has this like recruit beast out of your deck idea. But Tavish is 3 mana and this is 9 mana. And it's probably easier for the Ikemen beasts to keep recruiting beasts, but it's harder to get Ikemen out significantly. Like the difference between 3 mana and 9 mana is a lot. That's a lot of mana. And this effect isn't really that strong because we also know that we just looked at the beasts a few seconds ago, and they're not really that good. Most of them are very tiny, and most of them have I guess the good ones would be like these Death Rattle beasts. So like you can just like chain Death Rattles and kill off a beast, activate the Death Rattle, also pull another beast from the deck. But yeah, again, these Death Rattle beasts aren't like thrilling. So really tough to see the C play. This is definitely a meme legendary for Hunter. Definitely right there. Yep. So next card is Flag Runner. Right here. It's a Demon Hunter minion. 3 mana 1/6. Whenever a friendly minion dies, gain +1 attack. The stat line on this is really, really good. It's a lot of health, and the effect is really, really good. It's scaling, it's damage. The problem with this card, and why I think it's just straight up bad, is that it always goes back to the Demon Hunter token idea, where the Demon Hunter token idea kind of tries to reward you for killing your own tokens, which is something that is contradictory to the ideal token strategy, which is where you go super wide, and because you're super wide, your opponent finds it very difficult to deal with like each of your minions individually. So instead of trading in, you just point everything face, get that chip damage in, and then at some point you just keep going wider and wider, and then you do a big board buff, and then just keep going face, and then you just overwhelm your opponent with numbers. Flag Runner, it rewards you for kind of like trading away that strength of token decks. Kind of getting like back to away from the wide idea and more into a tall minion idea. And so having summoning tokens and then like kind of sacrificing them is to make one big minion, and then that minion gets removed, is a very losing play. Is a very losing thing to happen to a token deck. So this is just not the payoff that most token decks enjoy, and that's all of Demon Hunter has been throughout its history, and that's why has never seen play. And I don't think Flag Runner, despite looking like a really good card on paper, I don't think this deviates from that enough to be good.
Yeah, my opinion of token Demon Hunter, at least from a design standpoint, is that it wasn't meant to be a token deck in the traditional sense of how we view something like Druid, right? Your tokens are supposed to go wide, you're supposed to go face. I think they intended it to be a control class, which is really weird. It didn't work because that's like a contrasting thing. But I kind of appreciate what they attempted. If you look at coordinated strike, that's a perfect example. This is not a build a board, although it can. But this is more like this is just removal, very very flexible removal. Yeah, it's bad, and it probably won't be good. We have the better one, Expendable Performers, which
sorry.
yeah, it's me.
Sorry.
As we got Expendable Performers, which is 7 mana. You summon like 7 of these, and you can summon it twice, so that's 14/14 with Rush. Very flexible. You can dictate how you want to make these trades. You can like 1/4 X your opponent pretty hard. It's yeah, it's a great tempo card, but it doesn't see play because it doesn't really fit in anything that Demon Hunter wants to do. Yeah, this is just a meme card.
Yeah.
I don't know why they keep supporting token DH. It doesn't work.
I appreciate them trying to support it, but it's really tough when you have to sacrifice your tokens to gain rewards. Like cards like Fell Guardians are actually like this is a reasonable card. It's just like your tokens gotta die, and also Expendable Performer is a reasonable card, but your tokens have to die, and then you summon more tokens.
Yeah, I think the Witch Scale Naga was a good idea. It didn't work also. Rat Scale, yeah, whatever.
It got rotated to Wild, or rather rotated.
Right. Rotated out of it was in a Demon Hunter Initiate set. Like this was a good idea. This was like a way to deal damage. So you lose your board, but you're hitting, you're dealing damage. Even then, like it just didn't work. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Rat Scale Naga was really powerful, but it just wasn't. It was a really great card individually, but that's not the token idea. Anyway, moving on.
This one's mine. Templar Captain. It's an 8-mana 8/8 with Rush, and after this attacks a minion, you summon a 5/5 defender, and that defender has taunt. That's ridiculous. This is a ridiculous tempo. This is just a ridiculous card. 8-mana 8/8 with Rush is really strong, and with upside of a 5/5, you're getting 13/13 stats when you play this and you kill something. Or it doesn't have to kill the thing; it just has to attack the thing. It'll probably kill the thing because an 8-mana 8/8.
It's a lot of attack.
Unfortunately. This could actually really just be pack filler right now, but I think this will see play in the future. This reminds me a lot of Troublemaker. When Troublemaker came out, I don't think it really saw play. Big Warrior played it because it was powerful enough, but that wasn't really a good deck at the time. It saw play in Rush Warrior when things rotated and a Warrior needed a more finisher card. I can see the same thing with Paladin. Next year when we have a 4-set meta, Paladin's going to look a lot different. It might just need some big card to sustain, to work alongside Carriel, because Carriel isn't really a finisher. It's not really going to end the game by herself. So yeah, I'm going to up this to an okay bad. It's going to be good, but not right. This isn't the time for it.
Yeah, it's definitely okay bad. I'm not really looking for its future potential, like far into the future past rotation. I'm just. It does a lot. Okay, I will say it does a lot, but it's not going to see play in like any of the paladins we know of right now, because like any aggressive secret paladins are looking to end the game probably before 8 mana, or secure a board lead before 8 mana. With Battlegrounds Battlemaster giving Wind Fury, and all the Libram paladins kind of have a cheaper way to get 8/8 taunt Divine Shield minions in play. With the Libram of Hopes. So, it's just too much mana at this point for any of the Paladin ideas. Carriel, the hero card that we reviewed today, could probably put this on the table, but I think that Carriel just fits Librams much better than Templar Captain. Anything that Templar Captain does is just done better by Librams. And so it's tough to say that this sees play until after Librams rotate in April. But what we could try to do with this is we could try to build a big paladin with commencement, which is the dual class warrior paladin card. But big paladin hasn't really been a thing since it hasn't really been a thing ever. But the last time it was a thing, and the last time it got the ability to cheat out these big minions, was Duel, which is a card in Wild now. It wasn't a very good deck, and even if it drew Duel, it wasn't guaranteed to win. So it's really tough to see a big paladin happen, and really the only thing that this could see playing right now is a big paladin. What I will say though is it is really damn strong. It 13-13 of stats, 8-8 of which has rush, 5-5 of which has taunt that protects this, snowballing 8-8. Really, really good, but not playable right now probably. But I do recognize that it has potential. We could, like you mentioned, see it in a 4-set meta, or if we get big paladin support. I don't know.
Yeah. The other thing is that we could be completely wrong about Cariol, and Cariol could just be because Cariol is the defensive nature of that card. Could just give you the space that you need to play big cards to secure the win.
That unmovable object is so good. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that protects you, but it's only 2 damage on turn 8.
What do you mean?
We'll see.
Oh no, I'm saying no. You're talking about we're agreeing. We're saying that it gives you space.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the removal object is great because it does 2 damage per turn. I'm saying it's great because it effectively doubles your health, which might give you space here.
Yep. But it doesn't win the game. You need stuff to buff. This is a really good thing to buff.
Oh yeah.
And this is just a good thing to play. So there could be a universe where we're completely wrong about the Abrams, and you have to go big. Again, we'll have to play the cards to actually see if that is the case.
6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Wow, we actually have 20 more cards to review. Yeah, well, that was the end of this episode. I think we've been running for quite a while now. We've been running for about an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to do some editing on this. It'll be a lot easier to edit because we don't really have to do stars. We just have kind of the idea here. Yeah, look at this tier list. Look at that. I don't have to do stars.
It's pretty good. I'm okay with this. I have one I don't agree with too hard, but the other ones, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks like it has a rough idea of what I believe. Yeah. Of course, it's a mix of our opinions, so not everything is perfect in my eyes either. But I don't feel like anything is egregiously wrong. Like I could go up and down on some of these.
Sure.